Welcome to the Chef's Kitchen. I'm your host, Nicole Gaffney, and we're here at PBS39 Studios at the Steel Stacks campus in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I've got Chef Michael Adams here today. He's the executive chef of the historic Hotel Bethlehem. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Look at this giant piece of fish. Tell me what we're going to do with this.
So we have a whole East Coast halibut. I'm going to demonstrate how to break it down.
Awesome.
And then we have a nice little spring salad that we're going to serve with it with a really nice light citrus vinaigrette.
Very nice.
Very light, very fresh, very spring.
Let's get started.
What we're going to do is the halibut, there are actually 4 fillets to the halibut. You can take this off in one big piece or you cut it into 4.
Kind of just like a giant flounder.
Correct, and it swims the same way as a flounder.
How much does this thing weigh?
So this is about 15 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so all we're gonna do is there's a line that kind of runs right down the center here. So we're just gonna follow that line straight through, and then with the tip of the knife, what you're gonna feel is the center bone that runs down the whole back of this back of the halibut. And if you just follow the bone, that is ideal. So this comes up this way. So there's lots of meat on here. So you don't want to, you want to lose as little meat as possible. And
you've already got the gills and the guts and everything out of here.
Gills are out, head's off.
Obviously the head.
Yeah. And so then you want to use a flexible knife because you want to, that bone kind of comes down and then it goes on an angle. So you definitely want to use a flexible knife when you do this.
So really important to have a nice fillet knife.
Absolutely, very sharp too. All right, so we're going to come right down.
Now, did you buy this with the head off and already scaled and gutted, or did you?
No, it was head on, and we sell the cheeks as appetizers.
Oh, beautiful.
And we use the bones for a nice fish fumet.
Awesome.
So when we're making sauces or soup, we use a nice fumet. And then you just keep following those bones right down.
And are you going to skin this also?
We're going to skin this before we cook it, yes.
Nice.
Then we're going to come right down.
Great job. You got right up against the bone.
Pierce it through.
You need a pretty sharp knife for this, along with it being flexible, huh?
Absolutely. So we're going to take this right here. And then you have your whole quarter of a halibut fillet.
Nice.
And we're just going to trim this up a little bit.
So you would flip this over and do the same thing on the other side?
Both, yeah. There's 2 more quarters on the other side.
Okay.
So all we're going to do is we're going to turn this around, and then you have a gorgeous, gorgeous fillet here.
It really is.
It's very fresh. You can always tell by, if you press that, see how it springs back?
Yeah.
So it's a fresh fish. Yeah, it's a fresh fish.
Doesn't get much fresher than this.
So we're just going to take this, and if you hold on to the skin and you don't really push with the knife, a very little bit.
You kind of pull on that skin.
Yep.
And you want to have the edge of the knife off the cutting board, I see.
Correct. So you get a nice flat.
You make it look so easy.
Very little waste. And then what you want to do too is you want to remove. You see how you have this pinkish hue here? That's the bloodline.
Okay.
So that tends to have a stronger flavor than the white flesh. So you want to remove most of that to eliminate that really
kind of metallic.
Strong, metallic fishy flavor to it.
I believe that's a little higher in mercury too, that part.
Yep.
So that's good health-wise.
The blood.
Now, do you save the skin? Do you throw that in the stock?
That'll go right in the stock. Yep. And we're just going to get 2 small fillets here.
Gorgeous.
Take the tail off, and we'll just portion these out.
Do you do anything with any of these little odds and ends here? Do you grind them up, or?
So no, I mean sometimes we'll make like a fish mousse, and you can do quenelles that we'll do in soup and whatnot. But you want to make sure that sometimes when the knife is too sharp,
there's a
little bit of bone right there. So just make sure all of those are removed. So then we're going to just cut one more piece. All right.
Great.
And there you have 2 gorgeous fillets of halibut.
Gorgeous they are.
We're just going to put the halibut back on ice. From this point, we are going to we're going to go over to the other side.
Okay.
And we're going to start our vinaigrette.
Great.
Stay tuned for more from the Hotel Bethlehem. We're back with Chef Michael Adams of the Hotel Bethlehem.
we're going to go over and we're going to start the vinaigrette now. We're going to make some grapefruit segments for the nice composed salad that we're going to serve with it.
I love grapefruit. It's kind of a polarizing fruit.
Yeah, it's so plump and juicy. And
I just love the smell of it when you just cut into that.
So we're just going to take that off, and you want to get all of the white off of the grapefruit. It's a little bitter. And then, so we'll continue taking this off. And then we're going to use the segments, and then we're going to use the juice as well.
Great. And I spy one of my favorite ingredients over here, too.
Oh, watermelon
radishes.
Fantastic.
So let's talk a little bit about Historic Hotel Bethlehem.
We are a 128-room hotel. We have 2 restaurants. We have 1741 on the terrace, and we have our tap room. We also have banquet facilities that'll seat up to 325 people.
Let's do a lot of weddings.
We do lots of weddings, corporate functions, private functions, bridal showers. You know, we have our gift shop and our ice cream shop.
It's an amazing gift shop, I have to say, by the way. They have beautiful clothes and handbags. It's way better than your typical hotel gift store, for sure.
Absolutely. So we're going to save this, reserve this for the composed salad that we're going to do with it. And then we're just going to squeeze some of this juice in here, just a little bit. And then we're going to use some, we can remove this here. And then we're going to take just some fresh squeezed orange juice. Now, if you like oranges in it, I have a preference to grapefruit. I think sometimes oranges are too sweet.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to use the juice for this.
Kind of balances out the acidity of the grapefruit a little.
Absolutely. And then a little bit of lime juice as well.
This is a unique mixture you have.
Yeah, all the different citrus fruits.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're going to also add a little bit of zest from the lime. And let's get a little bit of orange in there as well. Just a little bit.
Now, is this something I could find on the menu over at one of your restaurants?
Yeah, the citrus, sometimes the fish will fluctuate, but certainly for the spring, this is definitely going to be on the menu. These are the first batches of breakfast radish that are available, as well as the pea shoots and our assortment of microgreens. These are a mixture of micro arugula and micro radish.
Oh,
so
nice.
they were all just harvested this morning. So from here, we're just going to take a little bit of minced shallot.
And these are such gorgeous ingredients. I know you really have a strong focus on using locally sourced produce and proteins and even dairy.
Absolutely. So I actually grew up, we farmed all of our own vegetables growing up. And we had a supplier of grass-fed meat that when I grew up on it. So we baked our own bread, we made jams, jellies. I mean, you name it. We made our own ice cream with the hand crank with the ice in the side. So it was fun. So I grew up with it. And so I really don't know any other way.
That's a good thing.
So, and we do have a lot of new farms popping up in the Lehigh Valley. I mean, it's huge, farmers markets. And so it's really great to see that evolve. It wasn't always that way. You know, for the last 8 years, it's really taken off.
Fantastic.
And so we're going to add a little bit of smooth Dijon mustard, and we're just going to whisk that in a little bit. And then we're going to take a little bit of honey, about a tablespoon. So we're just going to whisk that in. And then we're going to take a little bit of rice wine vinegar.
Okay. A lot of different acidic flavors going on.
Absolutely, and they all have their own unique dimension to add to the vinaigrette.
A lot of complexity.
So we're gonna, and we're gonna do this. And you know, if you can do this 2 ways, you can do this in the blender, or if you have one of the hand immersion blenders,
I love those.
We can use those. We're just gonna do this here and emulsify it by hand.
You're an old school guy.
I am. And then we have the elderflower liqueur.
Really?
So Saint Germain elderflower liqueur, just a little bit. It's gonna give it a nice, like floral note, but not overpower. So just a touch.
Oh, that's cool.
And then all we're going to do is emulsify some of the olive oil in here.
Now, over at Historic Hotel Bethlehem, you guys also do wonderful brunches.
We do. We have a huge Sunday brunch. We were nominated for top 100 Sunday brunches according to Open Table.
That's pretty big.
So
a lot of places out there doing brunch in the country.
A lot.
So to be in the top 100 is saying something.
It's great to be recognized for that. So, and the holidays are just, we sell out early. So if you plan on a holiday,
At the holidays?
definitely call a few months in advance because
Yeah.
we sell out. And then in the summer, we have our huge music festival.
Right.
So, you know, we have that happening, and
Can you do your little pop-up burger shop?
we do. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet.
So we're just gonna leave that there, and then we're gonna come back and whisk that a little more. Just
Great.
a little bit of fresh ground black pepper in there,
Okay.
and a pinch of salt. So just a little bit here. So we're just gonna get a nice hot pan for the halibut. And so for the halibut, we're gonna we're not gonna cook it in the oven. All we're gonna do is take a little bit of butter and on low heat, and we're gonna baste it.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep basting it in the pan, and we're gonna serve it slightly undercooked. You know,
All right.
we're not gonna do it medium rare or anything like that. Just
You're gonna
slightly under.
Get a sear on it or any kind
We're
of
gonna
color?
get a light, very, very light color on the halibut.
All right, great. It's such a delicate, nice piece of fish. I like that you don't want to kind of kill it in the pan and then overcook it in the oven like so many people do.
Right, no question. And with the light salad, you know, the radish and the citrus and everything just really comes
Really
together
delicate.
really nice, yeah.
Stay tuned for more from the Hotel Bethlehem. We're back with more from the Hotel Bethlehem.
We're just gonna take a little bit of butter here. Now we don't want to brown the butter and get the nutty flavor. We just want to get it hot enough to get a nice light golden brown.
So that could kind of overpower the fish, I guess.
Absolutely. And with the delicate vinaigrette and the delicate radish and pea shoots. So we're just going to do that. And we're going to lay the two fillets in. These are going to cook really fast. So, you know, obviously if it's a thicker cut from the top end of the halibut fillet, it's going to take a little more time. These are the bottom, so these are going to cook relatively quickly.
Good.
So as you can see, it's not a hard sear. The goal isn't to get this, you know, caramelization on there.
Right.
You literally want to just butter baste it, really light, lower temperature.
And are you going to throw anything in there, any aromatics?
So right now we're just going to take a smashed clove of garlic, and we're going to put that in there. And then as we cook it, we're just going to take that butter, and we're going to keep basting it.
Are you even going to flip it at all?
We're not going to flip it. We're just going to pull it right out of the pan and right onto the plate.
Nice.
And I'm going to add a little bit more butter to that. Never too much butter.
No, that's sort of...
So we're going to take...
Great.
So real slow. If you want to baste,
Sure.
and I'll get some of the tarragon over here. So not too much, you know, again, we don't want to overpower this fish. I think by itself is great. So we're just going to add a pluche of tarragon to that.
A pluche.
Pluche, a pluck and a pluche. And we are going to just let that kind of marry with the butter as you baste it, and that tarragon's just gonna, it's gonna go really well with the citrus and everything else that's going on in the dish. And always season both sides of the fish. We eat both sides, so season
Sure
both
do.
sides, right? Okay.
Do you have any kind of preference with the salt you use?
So for some dishes, like if I was serving like a raw fish,
Right.
I would use the Maldron sea salt, and then again, there's so many salts out there right now. Sometimes I
are.
use smoked sea salt,
Yeah.
the Himalayan sea salt, depending on the dish. So there's specific things. This is just, I use a neutral salt.
Like a kosher.
So a yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're just gonna let that go, and we can leave that go for a couple minutes now. And what we can do is we can start to compose our salad
Okay, great.
for the final dish.
So let's talk a little about the menu at 1741.
Sure.
It's more of a fine dining type of a restaurant.
It is. So we change in both restaurants. We do change the menu seasonally.
Which is fantastic.
So it's actually more than seasonal. We probably do it 6, 7 times a year.
Wow.
Some of the dishes more often, but definitely a total changeover.
So there's no staples that stay on the menu?
So
no matter
there
what.
there are a couple. So we do have a lamb chops dish. We have a strip steak and a fillet.
Sure, the classics.
Yeah, and that's what we call them, 1741 classics.
Nice.
And then we have our seasonal menu that we call it a seasonal menu, and we usually have 5 dishes on there, sometimes
I like
6.
that. Keep it kind of small.
Yeah, and it's always better. It's easier to execute because all of
Definitely.
the dishes are coming off one line in the kitchen
For both restaurants. Okay.
So we
That's
have to be
tricky.
careful on how we, what we put on there and the number of steps
Sure.
there are, and being very organized about it. So we're just going to keep this going. And you can see I'm not going to lift it up too high, but it's ever so slightly caramelizing in
Great.
that pan.
You can see it just starting to turn opaque a little on the top
Yeah.
too.
So we're going to keep going. And there's really, you just smell the garlic and the tarragon. There's really no fish smell there.
Stay tuned for more with Chef Michael Adams. We're back with more from the Hotel Bethlehem.
So we have the vinaigrette, and then we have these wonderful French breakfast radish.
They're so darn pretty.
I would suggest just dipping them in butter with some sea salt. That is like the best thing in the world.
So you leave the tops on too.
So leave a little bit of the top on, yeah. Makes the presentation nice. And so we're just gonna cut some different variations on here, some thick, some thin.
I love these bright pink colors.
And then we have another radish that we're going to use for this. We have a watermelon radish. And you can do this a couple different ways. I typically pickle the watermelon radish a little bit, and a quick pickle, not like a couple days or even 24 hours. You can do it for like 45 minutes.
Just a real mellow kind of flavor.
So these are just, they're so beautiful, but they, just because they look good doesn't mean, that should go on the dish. It's about the flavor composition of the dish. So
Because these tend to be a lot stronger.
Yep. So
the
we're only
breakfast
going to use a
radish.
few slices of it, and we're not going to cut it up too fine. So we're just going to let all of these ingredients.
Look at that though. That's so
Right,
cool looking. I love it.
So we're just going to put these in here, and then we're going to take some shaved, little more shallot, and we're just going to shave those down a little bit, real thin, and come back to our fish.
And are all the radishes and all of the produce here from local farmers?
Yeah, so the radish, all the microgreens, any of the lettuces, the herbs, they're all local.
Nice. Would you start growing anything on premise?
So it's funny that you asked that. I don't want to jump the gun on this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Awesome.
So I pitched a rooftop garden last year, and I'm not saying it's going to happen right away, but the owner of the hotel was very excited about the potential of that. So we wouldn't be able to do mass quantities.
Well, sure.
But to do some herbs and to do some microgreens and even a few tomato plants and
absolutely.
And we could do lavender, rosemary, all the herbs.
Experiment with
would be
a few things.
would be really nice. So this is I'm just going to flip them over for a minute. So I'm just going to flip them over. And do we have a fish spatula here?
I'm not sure if we do. Yep, there we go.
Okay. So just for a minute, I'm just going to let that in the pan. Just like, see how it ever so slightly caramelized?
Yeah,
Ever.
just barely.
Now we're going to pull that off. That's it. So we're just going to let it
no
rest
heat
for a
on
minute.
that.
Right. And then we're going to take our micro radish and our micro arugula.
Which one's which? I
So
guess
this
the
is
arugula's the green.
this is the radish, and there's arugula mixed in here.
Tastes just like a radish.
Yeah, and it just finishes out the little compost salad here real nice.
Beautiful.
All right, so we're going to take that, and we're going to get a little fresh ground pepper, pinch of salt, and we're going to use this for the plate, and we're going to dress it a little bit on the greens. Very, very small amount on the greens.
So they don't wilt.
That's it, about a tablespoon. And I think anybody can execute this at home. So we're just gonna layer out the watermelon radish and some citrus segments.
Nice. I can't get over the colors in this. It's too pretty. I'm almost not gonna want to eat
The
it.
breakfast radish are just awesome. So then we're going to take this, and then we're going to add a little bit on top.
So light and healthy too.
You know, the radish and the grapefruit, and let's drizzle a little bit of the vinaigrette on there.
All the flavors will really sing.
Not too much. You know, again, just enough. All right.
Nice. Great, great color. Let's bring it over.
Okay.
Well, this looks fantastic. I'm gonna get right into this fish. Come on, get in. I don't want to be the only one eating.
All right.
Perfect.
So you see that? How it's nice and almost translucent and not totally cooked through?
This is fantastic. Really, really, really good.
It just has spring written all over it,
It
doesn't
really
it?
does.
It's just...
This is so, so good. I'm coming right over to historic Hotel Bethlehem and having me a lot more of this fish.
nice.
Thanks for being with us on the Chef's Kitchen today, and we hope to have you back a lot soon.
Thank you.
The Lehigh Valley's premier hotel, Historic Hotel Bethlehem, is perfect for any stay, offering 2 restaurants by notable chef Michael Adams, 1741 on the Terrace, an upscale dining experience, and the Tap Room, a casual restaurant. Guests enjoy 24-hour room service, along with the Shop at Hotel Bethlehem, featuring Penn State Creamery ice cream and offering the finest in accessories. 2 beautiful ballrooms and ample meeting space make Historic Hotel Bethlehem the place to host your next event. Stay with us at Historic Hotel Bethlehem and feel at home.